Lawsuit or not, Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows is standing her ground.
I say it again today. Go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
Governor Janet Mills accused the Trump administration on Friday of engaging in government by intimidation as it seeks detailed information about voters and food stamp recipients in Maine. And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we're going to be talking about your girl. We haven't talked about Janet Mills in the great state of Maine in quite a while. But we're going to be talking about her and her state today because it looks like Maine is being sued by the United States Department of Justice because they don't want to let the Department of Justice know who are on their voter rolls. And this is causing quite the kerfuffle. Now, Maine has quite a feisty person overseeing the voter rolls, and she's also running for governor. So you're going to see a little bit of that today. You're going to see how she's using some pretty colorful language when responding to the Department of Justice. And this is going to be setting up another one of these iconic showdowns of the Trump administration versus the states. Now, y'all, you do have to wonder. I mean, you know, you're going to see a little bit later that Janet Mills, she looks like she might be wanting to throw her hat in the Senate run, the run to become the next senator of Maine, taking on an incumbent Republican. Of course, Janet Mills is a Democrat. So these voter rolls could be quite important. But it looks like Maine does not want the federal government to know who is voting in their elections. Isn't that strange, y'all? I mean, what kind of system do we have where the states can just let people vote in the elections, and the federal government, you can let them vote in federal elections, but the federal government doesn't have the right to know who those people are? Does that sound like it could be right to you? Well, you're going to be educated today. And also you're going to learn that there's a Gulf of Maine. I didn't know that, but I guess there is. So y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop right into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
The Department of Justice now suing Maine again, this time for not providing voter registration information as requested by the federal government.
Bonnie Bishop joins us live tonight. So Bonnie, what is the DOJ saying about this lawsuit?
The DOJ alleges that Maine has violated several voting laws, and this is all about information that Secretary Shenna Bellows has denied access to twice now.
Go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
That was Secretary of State Shenna Bellows in July. Tonight, she's doubling down on her decision to withhold voter registration records from the federal government, citing privacy concerns. The DOJ filing a lawsuit, again trying to get that information, including birth dates, addresses, and partial social security numbers. The DOJ saying states cannot pick and choose which federal laws they will comply with, including voting laws. The DOJ also claims Maine and Oregon gave identical information to a private organization, but the Secretary of State says that's a lie. Bellows saying tonight, Maine has some of the best elections in the nation. It is absurd that the Department of Justice is targeting our state when Republican and Democratic secretaries all across the country are fighting back against this federal abuse of power, just like we are.
As Secretary of State, I swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, the laws of the nation, and the laws of the state. And I will fight to protect voter privacy under the law. So I'm here to say that they've overstepped.
The lawsuit comes after the RNC filed a complaint with the Justice Department last week with similar concerns. Now, Maine is a part of over 30 federal lawsuits. That includes this one that was filed today. We know that the DOJ has filed 2 lawsuits against the state.
So that piece lets on, I think, a little bit to just how feisty she got. But take a look at this news clip, y'all. This lady, she's running for governor. So I guess she has to make a name for herself, get feisty, to try to get people to see that she's a fighter. Take a look at this, y'all. I guess this is just the way it is now. Like, you just have to be rude. You have to be somewhat confrontational. So, yeah, let's take a look.
Lawsuit or not, Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows is standing her ground.
I say it again today, go jump in the Gulf of Maine.
It's a quote that made headlines when Bellows first said it in July, but she says it actually comes from the former Secretary of State in Mississippi. When voter registration rolls were requested back during the Trump administration's first term, Delbert Hosemann told the feds to jump in the Gulf of Mexico. Bellows says it furthers her point that Maine is not alone, and in fact is among several other states like New Hampshire and Pennsylvania that have also refused to release the data.
So it is strange, it is not normal that they are targeting just Maine and Oregon with these lawsuits.
She says she believes every state is clearly protected in Article 1 of the Constitution, which gives states primary authority over elections. However, Bellows, who is running for governor as a Democrat, says there are other ways to do that, and her office has already provided the DOJ with detailed reports that can prove Maine's election integrity. But she's firm in her belief that releasing private information is an overreach and possibly politically inspired.
And so if they can target me because I'm a Democrat, they could target voters because of their political persuasion. And that's yet one more reason why we do not share sensitive personal information with the Department of Justice.
So your girl, Janet Mills, she weighed in on this controversy. And here it says, Janet Mills accuses Trump administration of government by intimidation. Governor Janet Mills accused the Trump administration on Friday of engaging in government by intimidation as it seeks detailed information about voters and food stamp recipients in Maine. Earlier this week, the Department of Justice sued Maine and Secretary of State Shenna Bellows over her office's refusal to share complete copies of the state's voter registration files. The DOJ says it needs the data as well as other information to ensure the state is accurately maintaining its list of registered voters and to protect election integrity. Mills, who is a former attorney general, says she is confident that Attorney General Aaron Frey will successfully defend the state against the DOJ lawsuit. Mill pointed to a California judge's decision this week that the Trump administration cannot withhold federal dollars from states, including Maine, that refuse to hand over the Social Security numbers and other personal data of food assistance recipients. Why do they need all that data? Mills said in Belfast, where she was touring several businesses. It's unreasonable, it's oppressive, administratively oppressive, and it's just an invasion of property. It's government by intimidation, and we won't let it happen. So that's what your girl, Janet Mills of Maine, has to say about sharing that data. The data about people who are voting in federal elections. That's what she has to say about sharing that data with the federal government. And all of this comes with the backdrop of the fact that Maine's going to be running an election. And it looks like the current governor, Janet Mills, who we've covered many times, she looks like she's going to be running for Senate, but the federal government can't even know who's on the voter rolls. What's up with that?
Governor Janet Mills taking steps toward running for U.S. Senate in 2026.
That is according to two sources who spoke with the Associated Press. They also said that she has made calls to potential campaign managers. They spoke anonymously because Mills, who is term limited as governor, has not announced her candidacy. When asked about those moves yesterday, aides to Mills pointed to her comments from last week when she said again that she was seriously considering a Senate campaign. Mills has said that she would announce a decision by mid-November.
But I really don't know Janet Mills's potential to win another statewide office. She has become quite unpopular in Maine to the point where many of her voters, when she goes out and does some of her routine governor duties, many of her voters show up just to boo her. Or maybe they show up and they wish she weren't there and they're booing her, y'all. I mean, this lady's getting booed Take a look at this report, y'all. We have a whole report on just how unpopular Janet Mills is. Take a look at this. Y'all, some of these crazy policies, some of these crazy ideologies are finally being called out by the voters, and I could not be happier. It's time to turn this country back to a sense of normalcy and get to the business of taking care of those things that really matter. Now, in this video, you are going to see various situations where voters call out, boo, and otherwise show disapproval for, you see her on your screen, Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, who has taken on the Trump administration and demanded that biological boys continue to compete against biological girls in sports, against all notions of common sense, decency, and courtesy to the girls. So y'all, what we're going to do is we're going to shoot into a report about Janet Mills's position, just in case you're unfamiliar with it. We're going to set the groundwork, and then we're going to shoot into a video. We'll shoot into that video from the coming up of one person confronting her, but don't worry, y'all, there's much more to come.
Governor Mills says the Trump administration is using this lawsuit to distract people from things that they actually care about, like the cost of fuel, cost of eggs, and cost of construction supplies.
To target one small group of people in America in order to divert attention from these other real issues, to target people, a minority group, who are already targeted in other ways, in cruel and unfair ways, is a sad and cruel distraction.
Governor Janet Mills continues to stand her ground on Title IX. She says she will follow state and federal law, something she says she's been doing all along. She also says something that wasn't mentioned in yesterday's Justice Department press conference was that the state has already won in court.
She failed to mention that the state of Maine obtained a favorable ruling from the federal court just last Friday, that there is a temporary restraining order. The federal judge issued an order against the federal government from trying to withhold funds.
Mills says this lawsuit doesn't have any evidence to back it up.
The 31-page complaint cites no authority, no case law to support the president's own personal interpretation of Title IX.
As we've reported, there are multiple bills being proposed in Augusta that would change Maine state law to be in compliance with the president's interpretation of Title IX. But just a few years ago, gender identity was added to the Maine Human Rights Act, which is why Mills says transgender girls can play in girls' and women's sports.
They passed that bill a few years ago, adding gender identity. They had a full hearing on it, why that should be in the law, and the legislature passed that, and I think I signed some of the amendments to that bill. No, look, I've said it's worthy of discussion.
Mills has not said if she would support or sign any of the bills that have been proposed to update the current law on the book.
Governor, why won't you support women's sports? Governor, why don't you support women's sports? Appreciate it if you stop body blocking me, sir. Governor, why won't you support women's sports? Is it because your sister works for an organization that provides transgender services to minors? Governor, could you answer my question, please?
So just this weekend, Governor Mills was at a moose lottery. I guess there's a lottery for you to get a permission to go and kill moose. And the people expressed their displeasure with her by booing her and by jeering at her. She could barely even say anything, y'all. How embarrassing. Let's take a look.
Maybe I won't read any names. It's gonna be rude, I'm not reading names. Welcome to Farmington, Maine. I'm pleased to be here. This is my hometown, my church. Keep it up, I'm not reading your name. We have daughters. Listen. I want to thank Two Cycle Savings Bank, United Insurance, Victory Media, Bangor Savings Bank, UMF, Mountainside Power Sports, Ripley Picture. Keep it up, I'm not going to read your name. I'm not going to read any names until you quiet down because nobody can hear me if I did. We're not reading any names until you quiet down.
You work for us. You work for us. You forget that. Get someone else to read the names. Get someone else to read the names.
Nobody's reading the names until you quiet down. How many people have put in for a chance at the lottery? How many people here have a chance? How many? All right, do you want to hear the names? Yeah, all right. You got to hear the names, but only so you can hear me, and people have to calm down and listen. All right? The first name is from Falmouth, Maine. The name is Roger Gagnon. All right, that's the first name. Second, from Smyrna Mills. Anybody here from Smyrna Mills?
She works for us. You guys forget.
Perry Burpee. Phillips, Maine. How many from Phillips here? All right. I hope your name, no, your name is not Melanie Hagan. You know Melanie Hagan? Melanie Hagan has a moose permit. Industry, Maine. How many from industry?
And these are not isolated incidents, people. When she goes out, she's likely to get booed. I know Maine probably has other problems with her aside from the whole biological boys competing against biological girls, but that has to play a role, right? Take a look. I mean, her own people are booing her, y'all. And you know what? She's not up for re-election, so she's gonna do whatever she want to do. What does she have to lose? Let's take a look. So, y'all, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think that the United States Department of Justice is going to win? Will they be able to force Maine to turn over these voter rolls? Or will the courts rule that no, Maine, they can allow people to vote in the elections, but federal government, you don't have a right to demand to know who those people are? Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. But before you do, y'all, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people of the retirement, y'all go down, click that first link down in the description, Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. You know, that's going to help you protect your retirement from the upsies, downsies, roundsies, and roundsies. And speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. I want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.